Fox 10 Phoenix reporter Justin Lum standing by there near the port of entry that is now closed in Lukeville, Arizona, due to this influx of illegal migrants coming through. We brought you this news on Friday night that is what CBP officials had intended to do, and they have done just that. Justin Lum joining me now there from southern Arizona. Justin, what is it looking like there? What are the implications and ramifications of this port of entry closure tonight?
Hey, Andrew, good evening. First off, I want to give you a look at what's going on here. We've talked to different migrants from different countries, and some of these people have been waiting days to get to the next step, which would be transportation to the collection center. Now, photojournalist Mark Johnson giving you a look at what the border wall looks like right here in Lukeville. You can see the sections of lines that go down about the length of a football field. I mean, this is easily around 1,000 people, and there were more earlier today as we arrived in the afternoon. I spoke to Customs and Border Protection when we came here. Basically, once these migrants are transported and taken into custody, the next step is processing at either the Ajo or Yuma stations before going to Tucson, and by plane or bus they would be sent to another sector to be detained to seek asylum. Now, here's some statistics. Encounters here at the Tucson sector have gone up 140% in the fiscal year of 2024 compared to last year, and we've seen many single adults here, many young men here waiting in line for days, they say, and the vulnerable people being families of women and children, they took priority here and were taken and transported about a couple of hours ago. Now, earlier I did speak to one man from Nigeria. His name is Emmanuel, and he says he traveled through 11 countries to get to this point.
I don't know, man. I don't know if I'll survive this night again. It's so cold and there's no food. There's no water. Like water, you have to wait until you get this. There's like, if you're like shelter, you know, maybe tent and food, like some humanitarian government here pass some apples out, you know, it helps. Like, there's no, you don't understand, like staying out 4 days, 5 days without food, without water.
And we also spoke to a young man from Sri Lanka and another man from Ecuador. I mean, really, so many different people from many different countries. Back out here live, we've also seen migrants collect firewood earlier, preparing for a very cold night. We see them share snacks. One man said that he basically had a granola bar today. Meanwhile, Governor Katie Hobbs addressing the Lukeville Port of Entry closure. She says she's not sending any state resources and that the federal government needs to address this issue. Andrew?
Yeah, Justin, that was my question Friday night, whether or not Arizona Governor Hobbs would deploy Arizona National Guard, and she, like you said, indicated that she's not ready to do that just yet, possibly not at all, but the stunning amount of illegal migrants they're gathering behind you by the border wall is really just kind of a great encapsulation of the border crisis, what these CBP officials have to deal with on a daily basis. Have you talked to any of them? How do they treat this? How do they handle this? No doubt there's language barriers at play, but what is their role today?
Yeah, that is a great question. And actually, let's give you another look at the lines here, because I spoke to the PIO for Customs and Border Protection, and really the closure, the temporary closure of the port of entry means that they will have other agents, more resources and personnel be able to help with the processing, because John Manel, he says basically since spring, they have seen the increase of migrants coming here and that they're going to need more help, and they've seen many more apprehensions from countries that they are not used to seeing. So clearly there has been such an influx, and so more personnel is needed. But at this point, like I said, Governor Katie Hobbs, she's not ready to use state resources, and she says it's up to the federal government to secure the border. That's what she said earlier today, Andrew.
Yeah, because we brought our viewers as well, Justin, that because this port of entry is closed, that means some of these CBP officials will be diverted elsewhere, like what we're seeing right behind you, to still deal with the thousands of migrants that are coming in. And then, of course, we told our viewers on Friday night that this is temporary, but it doesn't seem like anyone can define temporary right now. Of course, this is the first day of the closure. Do we expect this to go throughout the entire week, the whole month? I guess we just don't know right now, at least.
Yeah, I guess we'll see. At this time, there's a temporary closure. Maybe to give you some context, one of these men who's been here for a few days, he said every day about 200 of them move out of the line. They're transported. So if there was around 900 to 1,000 at one point, maybe more in these lines, that's giving you kind of a snapshot of how many people are moving. And then you also have to count the women and children, the vulnerable population being moved to the next stop, the next part of the process. So, but as that's happening, more migrants are also coming here. So, yeah, hard to tell how long the port of entry stays closed.
Yeah, it just seems like throughout the entire duration of the border crisis, Justin, it's been largely centered and focused in Texas, and it has not been as busy or crowded in Arizona. That seems to have changed now, the dynamic different on the ground here. We'll just have to continue to follow it. Justin Lum there live for us in Lukeville. Justin, thanks so much. Talk soon.
Thanks, Andrew.